एहसास न्याय का सबके लिए, आकाश न्याय का सबके लिए।
Namaskar. A girl child. Don't let the life end before it begins. Welcome on for today's session on Virtual Juridical Series. And today we have with us Srimati Pooja Kavlikar, Ad hoc District Judge, Pastoral Court. And today we are going to discuss she's going to enlighten you on the topic of Preconception and Prenatal Diagnostic Technique, Prohibition of Sex Determination Act, and which is very, very important. So, welcome madam, and let us start with today's session.
Namaskar. First of all, let me thank the Goa State Legal Services Authority for inviting me to speak on such a sensitive topic. A topic which is so very close to my heart. Close to my heart because I am one of those fortunate daughters, unlike so many unfortunate daughters who are not allowed to be born. Many years ago, when I was travelling in a railway, I saw a hoarding at the railway station which said, invest 50,000 rupees today and save 5 lakhs rupees in future. It was a slogan that was published on a hoarding against a picture of a cute baby boy. My first impulse was to think that it is an advertisement of a child investment scheme, etc. But I was completely wrong. It was an advertisement of a prenatal sex determination clinic. Prenatal diagnostic technique, or PNDT for short, is a technique by which any chromosomal abnormality or malfunction is detected in a fetus. But when this technique is used for sex determination, that is to find out whether the sex of the fetus is male or female, more often than not it is misused. Once it is found that the sex of the fetus is that of a female, the fetus is aborted. And that is the reason why we have to emphasize more on Bachao Aboti to Padhao Aboti. Let me present to you some statistics. The child sex ratio as per 2011 census is 914 girls per 1,000 births. This is the lowest recorded since independence. States like Punjab and Haryana, the situation is even worse. In Punjab, the child sex ratio is as low as 846, and in Haryana it is 830. Even in a metropolitan city like Mumbai, the child sex ratio is 898 in 2001 census. So where all our girls have gone? They have either not been allowed to be conceived, or if they are conceived, they are not allowed to be born. Now what is the legislation that is there in our country to curb the menace? In 1988, the state of Maharashtra was the first state in the country to enact a law prohibiting sex determination of the fetus. This law was called the Maharashtra Regulation of Prenatal Diagnostic Techniques Act. What followed was the central legislation called the Prenatal Diagnostic Techniques Regulations and Prevention of Misuse Act 1994. Now the 1994 Act provided for regulated use of prenatal diagnostic techniques, PNDT for short. It provided for prevention of such techniques for the purpose of sex determination. There was a complete bar to use the techniques for the purpose of sex determination. The Act also provided for appointment of the Central Supervisory Board, which was the central agency, which was the functions of which were advisory in nature. It also provided for appointment of appropriate authorities, which are nodal agencies in the state, which were vested with all the powers under the Act, powers of registration, supervision, monitoring, etc. But despite of this, the situation in our country as regards child sex ratio was extremely grim. This law was nothing but a paper tiger. Therefore, in the year 2003, CIHA, that is the Center for Inquiry into Health and Allied Themes, filed a public interest litigation before the Honorable Supreme Court, pointing out that despite of the law being there, the situation has not really changed. The law is not being effectively implemented. It was also pointed out by CIHA that it is not the issue of sex determination itself that causes a problem, but also the issue of sex selection. Now here we need to understand the difference between sex selection and sex determination. Sex determination happens when a child is conceived. A PNDT is utilized in order to find out the sex of the child. And if it is found that the sex is of the female sex, then the fetus is aborted. Sex selection happens at a preconception stage. That is, technology is advanced to such an extent that you can virtually genetically engineer a male baby, produce a zygote on a petri dish, and implant the zygote in a mother's womb. And this is how you can ensure that a male child is born. So it is the menace of sex selection also that needed to be covered. So at the time when this public interest litigation was pending for consideration before the Honorable Supreme Court, the central government thoroughly amended this law, and now the law is called the Preconception and Prenatal Diagnostic Techniques Prohibition of Sex Selection Act. I shall now give you a bird's eye view of this act. I will be discussing this act in three parts. Firstly, I shall discuss all the prohibitions under the act. Secondly, I shall discuss about the regulations, conditions and safeguards for conduct of PC and PNDT. And last, I will give a brief idea of what are the penalties and punishments for violation. Now first, coming to the prohibitions. There are four major prohibitions under the act. The first prohibition is for the conduct of any PC or PNDT by the use of any equipment which is capable for sex selection. No person, genetic counseling center, medical practitioner, clinic can conduct PC-PNDT for the purpose of sex determination. The prohibition is not only upon a doctor or the genetic counseling center, but also upon a person. No individual can cause to conduct a PC or PNDT for the purpose of sex determination. The second prohibition is to non-disclosure of sex of the fetus in the course of PNDT. So if a medical practitioner is able to determine the sex of the fetus in the course of the PNDT, he is not supposed to disclose it, either directly or by words or signs or gestures. Many a times it is seen that the doctors use innuendos such as the sky is pink today, or Jai Mata Di, or please get jalebis. Even that kind of gestures or disclosure is absolutely prohibited under the Act. The third prohibition is on the sale of unregistered ultrasound machine or any equipment which is capable of detecting the sex of the child. The fourth prohibition is prohibition of advertisement relating to prenatal sex determination. Now, I wish to discuss with you a case which was filed before the Honorable Bombay High Court. This is the case of Satya Trilok Kesri versus the state of Maharashtra. Now, in this case, what happened was an article was published in a newspaper which propagated naturopathy as means of begetting a male child. Now, it was argued by the accused before the Honorable High Court that this is a research paper, and by no means it is an advertisement of any prenatal diagnostic technique for the purpose of sex determination. Neither it is an advertisement of a clinic. The Honorable High Court rejected this contention and said nothing doing, you need to read between the lines. The intention was to violate the intent of this act and therefore the liability. So these are about the four major prohibitions under the act. In addition to that, there are rules provided under the act. And the rules require that any place where sonography or PNDT is conducted has to get itself registered before the appropriate authority. There is an entire series of compliances that are prescribed under the Act, the form that needs to be filled, the certificate that needs to be obtained. In addition to that, any clinic, any genetic center that conducts sonography or PNDT that is capable of sex determination, they are required to maintain certain registers, certain forms which are provided under the rules. The appropriate authority is a monitoring agency, and at any point of time they have a right to raid the premises, to inspect the records and seize the records if it is found that there is any violation of any of the provisions. In addition to that, every clinic has to display a board which clearly says that this place is not used for conducting any sex determination tests. So these are about the prohibitions under the Act. Now a question will arise that does that mean that the law is so cruel that we will not use such a beneficial piece of technology, PNDT and PC, and impose a blanket ban? Well, the answer is in the negative. The law does not impose any blanket ban on the use of PC and PNDT. What the law does is it regulates the use of PC and PNDT only to detect certain chromosomal abnormalities in the fetus. So the second part of my presentation would deal with what are the regulations and safeguards that a doctor or medical practitioner has to follow in conducting a PC and PNDT. The first condition is that for conduct of PC and PNDT, it is necessary that the doctor is satisfied that there is some kind of chromosomal abnormality which is enlisted under the Act, which the fetus can suffer from. That is not enough. Once the doctor feels that there is a need to conduct PC and PNDT to detect a chromosomal abnormalities, he has to satisfy himself about the coexistence of the following conditions. Firstly, that the pregnant woman has to be above 35 years of age, and/or the pregnant woman must have undergone 2 or more spontaneous abortions of fetal losses, and/or the pregnant woman must have been exposed to some teratogenic agents, drugs, radiations in the course of a pregnancy, and/or the pregnant woman or her family should have had history of mental illness, spasticity, or any kind of physical deformities. Or lastly, the doctor should satisfy himself that there exists any condition as may be specified by the Central Supervisory Board. Now, once these conditions are satisfied, it is not enough for the doctor to directly conduct a PNDT. In such a case, the doctor is required to record his findings in writing by stating reasons. In doing so, the doctor is required to support his findings with all medical records and records of all the tests that the pregnant woman has undergone. After that, he needs to explain to the pregnant woman the need of conducting such PNDT and also inform her the effects, side effects, after effects of the entire procedure. This he has to do in a language that the pregnant woman understands. After doing this, he has to obtain her informed consent. Now here it is necessary that the pregnant woman gives her consent in writing. This writing has to be maintained by the doctor in his record, and a copy of this writing has to be given to the pregnant woman. So these are basically the conditions and safeguards under which a PNDT has to be conducted. Now what happens if all these prohibitions or all these safeguards are not complied? Then obviously you are liable for punishment. So the Act provides that any clinic, laboratory, medical practitioner, doctor, etc. who contravenes the provisions of this Act would be liable for an imprisonment which may extend up to 3 years or a fine which may extend to 10,000 rupees. For a subsequent offence, the penalty is even more stringent. Now the medical practitioner, clinic, etc. is also liable for suspension of their license if they are found guilty. Now the penalty is not only upon the person who does the test, but also the person who seeks the assistance of a clinic or a laboratory to conduct a PNDT for the purpose of sex determination. Such a person would be liable for an imprisonment which may extend up to 3 years and a fine which may extend up to 50,000 rupees. For a subsequent offence, the punishment is even more stringent. The imprisonment may extend up to 5 years and a fine which may extend up to 1 lakh rupees. In this process of investigation, the prosecuting agency, that is the appropriate authority, can even conduct inspection of records, seize registers, seal sonographic machines, and even seal the clinics for years together until the case is disposed of. Now many a times it so happens that a woman does not voluntarily consent to undergo that procedure. In our cultural setup, a woman is compelled to undergo this procedure. So in such circumstances, it would be unfair to penalize a woman for conducting this process for sex determination. That is why there is a fiction created by law. There is a presumption. The court shall presume that a woman has not consented to undergo this procedure and she was compelled to undergo this procedure. Next question that arises as to who can file the case. Now, as I have told you, there is a nodal agency called appropriate authority, and therefore no court shall take cognizance of this offence until and unless the appropriate agency prosecutes, files a complaint. However, any individual can come and complain before the appropriate authority that there is any such violation or prohibition detected by him. In fact, he can also intimate the appropriate authority, and after he intimates the appropriate authority, he has to wait for 15 days, and if the appropriate authority does not take any action, then he can file a complaint directly before the magistrate. There is a website of Government of India called pnpt.gov.in where all the details about the rules, compliances that are required under this Act are given. Now, certain legal constitutional issues may arise with regard to the implementation of this Act, particularly relating to violation of fundamental rights. Now, in one of the cases before the Honorable Bombay High Court, the case of Vinod Soni versus Union of India, a couple came before the Honorable High Court and said that we already have 2 daughters and we are well-to-do, we are rich enough to give birth to a son, we are not killing any fetuses, we are not causing any death of a fetus, we are not killing any unborn child. We just want a baby boy to complete our family. And because the Act does not allow us preconception, it violates our right to life and personal liberty under Article 21 of the Constitution of India. The Honorable Bombay High Court did not accept this contention, and the Honorable Bombay High Court held that nature does not give you the liberty to choose the sex of your child, and therefore when there is an Act that prohibits preconception sex determination, it cannot be said that it is violative of your right to life and personal liberty. Likewise, the Honorable Bombay High Court has also upheld that the Act does not violate right to equality under Article 15 of the Constitution. Now you will wonder, why are we creating so much of hue and cry about this Act? An argument that is understandably raised in such issues is that first we need to change the mindset of people. Until and unless we change the patriarchal mindset of people, to pass any amount of legislations, nothing is going to happen. This argument is absolutely correct. You are absolutely right to argue that we need to change the patriarchal mindset. But the whole process of changing the patriarchal mindset is a very, very slow process. So until then, what should we do? Until then, we should make this law a stringent legislation, so that next time when a census is conducted, the situation of the country is not this great. We should ensure that the law is equally deterrent and preventive, so that our statistics are much more better than what they are now. That is basically the idea. So therefore, it is important that a series like this is conducted and people are sensitized. You are aware of the violations that exist under the Act, and if you find anything happening around you, then you should come ahead, come in front and complain to the appropriate authority so that they can prosecute the wrongdoers. So that was basically the idea of this entire lecture. Now, on a parting note, I would take this opportunity to recite before you a small poem that I have composed on this subject. It goes like this. You want a mother, you want a wife, you want a sister to play. Then why is that? You call me a burden. Why don't you allow me, your unborn daughter, to see the light of the world? Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, madam. And it is just want to say that why to say only Beti Bachao or Beti Padhao, rather develop a world which in a way Beti ko जानवर नहीं इंसान बनाए. Thank you so much for enlightening us today on our series and giving us viewers such an important and very crucial important information on this topic. Thank you so much.
राष्ट्रीय न्यायिक सेवा प्राधिकरण
न्यायालयातल्या कारवाई खातीर बरो वकील मेळून दिता.
वेळार योग्य कायद्याखालची मदत आणि सल्लो दिता.
लोक अदालत द्वारा चढ काळच्या केसीक बेगीन सोपयता.
आणि ते बी सामके मोफत.
राष्ट्रीय न्यायिक सेवा प्राधिकरण बेस बरो न्याय बेस बरो समाज.
अधिक माहिती खातीर लागच्या न्यायालयातल्या न्यायिक सेवा प्राधिकरण कार्यालयाला संपर्क करा.
वा टोल फ्री नंबर 1510 चेर फोन करा.